The UAE is dedicated to lowering the region's carbon footprint, but environmental issues continue to plague the region. So what sort of policies can the region adopt from the West to help further develop their goal of lowering their carbon footprint by 7% by 2030? Well, joining us today is former US Congresswoman and presidential candidate Cynthia McKinney. Cynthia served 6 terms as a Democrat member of the US House of Representatives, focusing on environmental issues that has helped put the US Green Party on the map. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much for inviting me to be here.
Now, you're here to join writer Lisa Durante, the Group Managing Director for GDP Media, for her book launch. Tell us about the book and sort of what it means to you and some of the messages that are quite important for the region as well.
The name of the book is Clean UAE. And basically, it's a book that touts all of the sustainability issues that exist here on the corporate level and in the United Arab Emirates.
Right, so what are the sort of key messages that have come out of the book, do you think? What are the most important sort of issues?
I think the most important issue really is the one of inspiration, because it shows us that it is possible to lead sustainable lives as on the individual level as well as on the corporate level. And I think now more than ever, we need inspiration.
Definitely. So on an individual level, what can people do? I mean, it's very much the small things that make a big difference, isn't it?
Well, you're right about that. And I would like to take a moment just to mention Masdar City.
Yes. Because
that initiative, I believe, is one in which the UAE can set a global example for what is possible.
Definitely.
And at the same time, it can also teach the United States a couple of things too. Now, in terms of what individuals can do, one of the ideas that I had, I landed here in Abu Dhabi, and my idea was to ride my bicycle from Abu Dhabi to Dubai.
Right.
Well, it didn't happen.
I'm sure it didn't.
And one of the things that I learned was that the UAE is third in the number of auto crashes. So it's not very safe. Bicycling is not very safe here. But if you're going to decrease your carbon footprint, then individuals are going to have to do things that are different. And bicycling is one of those things to get from place to place.
Exactly.
Now, it just so happens that I left Oakland, California on a bicycle, and I ended up in Washington, D.C., on that same bicycle.
Wow.
2.5 months later, of course.
That's incredible.
And we were bicycling for peace. So one of the things that I think the UAE could inaugurate would be some kind of bicycling program and become a bicycle-friendly environment. Another thing I believe also that would be helpful is the carbon credit market.
Yeah.
And what I did in order to offset my own travel here was I bought carbon credit, 7 tons worth, from Native Energy, which is a Native American alternative energy producing corporation inside the United States. Now, wouldn't it be wonderful if we had something like that here in UAE as well?
I think that is an initiative that is sort of slowly being adopted here, and it's something that I think some of the companies are looking to sort of implement, but it's definitely a route that they should go down. Price-wise, though, I mean, is it a costly thing to do?
No, it's amazingly affordable. I can't remember exactly how much I spent to offset my travel, but basically the calculation is done for you. You just put in if it's transportation or whatever the area is that you want to get your offset for. And it does the calculation for you, and it tells you how much you have to spend, and then you pay it.
Technology really is advancing at an amazing rate, isn't it?
Absolutely.
As you said with the cycling here, I mean, it's the infrastructure. They need to make sure that they build the infrastructure so that something like that can, so people can, feel safe. Exactly.
That's right. And of course, there is really no alternative now to leading more sustainable lives, because what's at stake is the highest level. It is mankind itself and Mother Earth. And if we abuse Mother Earth anymore, we don't know if Mother Earth will be able to sustain us.
We're going to have to pay the price at some stage, aren't we? Definitely.
Absolutely.
So, as a someone coming from the US, what's your sort of perception of the UAE when it comes to sort of challenges that plague this sort of area when it comes to green initiatives and reducing that carbon footprint?
Well, I don't know that it's I've been here like literally all of one day.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've seen a lot, but honestly, I think that the initiatives that are coming from UAE at this moment and their understanding of the need to involve more sustainability in their development plan, I believe is the right way to go, and Definitely. It can set a model for the rest of the world.
Exactly. I mean, the government initiatives really are incredible, definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
So in terms of what this region can learn from the West, what do you think they can learn from the US and some of the initiatives you've been involved with?
Well, of course, in the United States, one of the really big issues, we have a lot of them, but one of the biggest issues is what's happening in our own Gulf. Right. The Gulf of Mexico, with our gusher in the Gulf is what we call it.
Of course, yes.
Now, what we have is a very widespread network of eco-activists who live in the area, but their tentacles reach all across the country. They are informing the American people of just exactly the ecological disaster that has befallen the area. Yeah. We have seen recently bird kills, fish kills, millions of fish, dead fish, just landing on the shores of riverbanks and in the area. And we don't know what the health effects are, but we've got this dedicated network of activists who are doing the investigations in the absence of government action.
Yeah, it's horrific stuff that's gone on there, isn't
Absolutely
it? Absolutely
horrific.
That's all we've got time for, I'm afraid. But thank you so much for coming in and chatting with us.
Well,
it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And up next, we take a look at a charity fashion show.